Welcome to the debate. If you walk into any stadium at the 2026 World Cup, you aren't just looking at, 22 players on a grass pitch anymore.
No, not at all. It's an entirely different landscape.
Exactly. You're watching 1,248 fully digitized 3D rendered avatars, and they're generating hundreds of millions of data points every single second.
Which is just a staggering level of hyper-quantification. I mean, we've essentially turned the pitch into a massive real-time server room.
Yeah, we really have. And it forces us to ask a really profound question about the sport. Does the deployment of this artificial intelligence, processing all these millions of variables instantly, does it strip away the unpredictable human essence of the beautiful game? Or, does it actually elevate human potential?
Right, that is the core tension here.
And especially for the students of the game listening today, we want to explain how these AI systems have fundamentally changed the equality of opportunity between traditionally dominant clubs and smaller teams. Because, my stance is that this technology actually purifies the sport. We are eliminating unjust human error, we're actively protecting player welfare, and we are finally democratizing the playing field so talent outshines budget.
Well, I come at it from a different way. I think that by outsourcing our intuition, our tactical decision-making, and even our officiating to algorithms, we risk sanitizing the beautifully flawed human drama that makes football a global phenomenon in the first place.
Let's start right there with that idea of this beautifully flawed drama. Because for decades, the narrative of football has been hijacked by human fallibility in the worst possible way, which is pure injustice.
I wouldn't call all of it injustice, but I see where you're going.
Well, we don't need to rehash the famous blown calls, right? The infamous 1986 hand of God, or goals that were given when the ball was a yard over the line. But look at the semi-automated offside technology we're using now. It's not just a camera replay. Have you looked at the actual mechanics of how this functions?
You're talking about the 12 dedicated high-speed cameras under the stadium roof, right?
Right. 12 optical cameras tracking the ball, plus 29 distinct body points on every single player. Ankles, knees, shoulders, 50 times per second.
Yeah.
But the real magic is inside the match ball. There's an inertial measurement unit, a sensor suspended right in the center, streaming contact data at 500 hertz. So, 500 times a second, it's reporting its exact position.
And then the system syncs those two data streams together.
Exactly. The AI takes the optical data mapping the player's skeletons, takes the 500 hertz data from the ball sensor, and determines the exact microsecond a pass is struck.
Right.
And within about 1 second, it generates a perfect, mathematically absolute 3D model. My perspective is that the true human essence of sports is about fair competition. It's about athletic brilliance. It is not about getting away with rule breaking just because a human...
Promotion started for my sci-fi book on Amazon Books. The book's name is The Scientist Explorers, author WICWI. The value is $4,099. The following is a narrated synopsis.
Beyond the atmospheric shroud of dying worlds, beyond the last safe colonies, beyond the reach of human certainty, a mystery waits. A mystery older than civilization itself. For centuries, humanity searched the stars, looking for meaning, looking for answers, looking for proof that there was something more. Most failed. One refused to stop. Patagon Fant was not searching for survival. She was searching for transcendence. While worlds crumbled, while governments fought for control, while artificial intelligences evolved beyond their creators, she ventured into the frozen darkness between the stars. What she discovered changed everything. Ancient technologies, impossible signals, lost civilizations, and forces capable of rewriting humanity's destiny. What if evolution was only the beginning? The Scientist Explorers, a thrilling science fiction adventure by WIC, available now on Amazon. Get your copy today at amazon.com/dp/B34J7D. The journey beyond the stars begins now.
End of the promotion. Thank you for listening until the end. Continuing with the regular content now.
Human official couldn't process the geometry of 22 sprinting athletes fast enough. And for students studying sports management, This is exactly the kind of tech that creates true equality of opportunity on the pitch.
But see, you are applying a standard of perfection that is entirely alien to the human experience. You're talking about a 500 hertz sensor. I mean, the human eye was never meant to perceive reality at 500 frames a second.
Well, sure, but
No, think about it. Football was designed to be played by humans, watched by humans, and judged by humans in real time. We have 1,248 World Cup players scanned into 3D avatars now, with algorithms dictating mid-game substitutions based on fatigue patterns. That democratization you're talking about, it forces every team to conform to standardized performance metrics.
wait, so you'd rather have a demonstrably wrong call stand, altering the course of an entire tournament, just to keep the human referee involved?
I'm saying that when you introduce a microscopic standard of truth, you create this weird psychological disconnect. The stadium erupts, a beautiful, fluid goal is scored, and then everyone just freezes.
They wait for the check.
Right, the players look around, the fans hold their breath, and we wait for a server to audit the passion. We wait to see if an AI determines that a striker's kneecap was 3 millimeters beyond an invisible line. It interjects a clinical, mathematical audit into a moment of pure chaotic emotion.
I see why you think that, but let me give you a different perspective on what those metrics actually achieve. You see an audit, but I see the ultimate protection of the human body. We are finally taking player welfare seriously.
How does an offside line protect player welfare?
Well, it's the same underlying AI infrastructure, right? The hyper-quantification. Think about how injury management worked before these AI systems. It was entirely reactive. A player sprints, they clutch their hamstring, they collapse, and suddenly their World Cup is over.
And now?
Now we use predictive analytics. The AI isn't just tracking how fast a player runs for offsides, it's analyzing biomechanical stress patterns dynamically. By mapping those 29 body points, the system can detect asymmetrical running gaits. It notices if a midfielder is favoring their left leg by a fraction of a millimeter because of micro-fatigue.
Right, it calculates the acute to chronic workload ratio.
Exactly. It looks at sleep quality, historical injury data, workload. It's like monitoring a suspension bridge. You don't wait for the bridge to collapse. You place sensors to measure the microfractures in real time. So if an AI alerts a coach that a winger has a 70% elevated risk of an ACL tear and they get subbed off, we aren't stifling the human element. We are extending professional careers by years.
That is a compelling technical explanation, but have you considered what that actually does to the heroism of the sport?
Heroism?
Yes, the mythology of football. It is built on humans pushing their physical and emotional limits way beyond what is rational or safe. If a coach makes a substitution because an iPad flashes a high strain coefficient, aren't we treating the player like a machine part requiring maintenance?
I wouldn't say a machine part.
Think of the legendary performances of exhausted players, completely spent, carrying their teams on their backs in extra time of a World Cup knockout match. Like Franz Beckenbauer playing with a dislocated shoulder in an improvised sling in the 1970 semifinal. It's iconic because it defies logic. Under your AI-managed paradigm, that heroism is flagged as a biomechanical risk factor, and he's subbed off. We are literally legislating the courage out of the game.
I have to push back hard on that. A preventable injury derailing a World Cup campaign does not add romance to the sport. If a player tears their hamstring in the 70th minute because the coaching staff ignored the physiological data, we don't get a heroic extra time performance. We get a stretcher. The fans are robbed of seeing the best humans compete.
But you're assuming the injury is guaranteed. The AI only provides a probability, a statistical risk.
True, but providing a coach with physiological reality doesn't mean telling a player they lack courage. And the AI doesn't force the substitution, it just provides the insight.
Do they really have a choice, though? Let's be honest about the pressure to comply with the algorithm. If a coach ignores the AI's injury prediction, leaves their star player on, and that player snaps their Achilles, that coach is fired the next day. The algorithm has become the ultimate authority.
Okay, but if we're talking about the algorithm acting as an authority, we have to look at how this data reshapes the macro landscape. And this is exactly what we need to explain to the students listening today. We have to talk about how this technology has completely revolutionized equality of opportunity between clubs.
You're talking about recruitment and scouting now.
Exactly. Historically, scouting was a wildly inefficient, biased old boys club. Elite teams, Manchester City, PSG, Bayern Munich, they had unlimited financial backing and massive global scouting networks. Smaller clubs in developing nations simply couldn't afford to compete. They were gatekept. Today, AI has radically leveled that playing field.
Well, I acknowledge the financial leveling. A subscription to a generative AI scouting system is vastly cheaper than paying 50 global scouts, but I question what we are actually leveling here.
We are leveling the ability to process reality. Think about it. Computer vision algorithms ingest thousands of hours of raw match footage from lower divisions. It uses metrics like expected goals or progressive carries to understand context. So a sporting director at a low-budget club can statistically compare a 19-year-old hidden prospect in South America directly against a top-tier Premier League star.
Right, it turns physical actions into statistical probabilities.
Yes, the AI even generates projection models for the next 5 to 10 years. It's a true meritocracy that destroys the old gatekeeping. Talent is no longer hidden by geography or a lack of budget.
It's a meritocracy on paper, yes. But I challenge the nature of this new equality. If every single team, from grassroots academies all the way to the World Cup, is using the exact same expected goals algorithms, the exact same projection models, and the exact same generative AI, doesn't it homogenize the entire sport?
How does understanding the game better homogenize it?
Because traditional scouting, for all its glaring flaws, valued unquantifiable human traits. A scout sits in the rain watching a second division game and they see grit, they see leadership. Sometimes they see a unique, unorthodox flair that completely defies statistical logic. Football isn't chess, it's jazz. But when you filter the entire global talent pool through an AI looking for optimal running economy, you filter out the anomalies.
You think it filters out the Mavericks?
Absolutely. Every player starts to look exactly the same, a mathematically perfect cog designed for a standardized tactical system. We lose the distinct regional identities. Everyone plays the same way, because the computer tells them it's the most statistically efficient way to win.
That's a really interesting argument, but I think you have the mechanics of the AI backwards. The AI doesn't erase those unique cultural styles. It actually gives us the vocabulary to identify and value them objectively.
How does an algorithm value flair?
By measuring what flair actually accomplishes on the pitch. If a player has the immense psychological composure to execute a devastating pass when two defenders are sprinting at them, that is flair, that is grit. But instead of relying on a scout's gut feeling, we can map it spatially and measure it definitively.
But it's reducing an art form to a data point.
The art form so anyone can find it. A manager at a small club can literally open a prompt and ask the generative AI which players in the South American second divisions are most effective at breaking defensive lines against a low block defense. It gives them a curated list. It is giving smaller clubs the exact tools they need to find precisely the type of player they want.
I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that a large language model can capture the soul of a footballer. Yes, the AI tracks the vectors, but it doesn't know why that player is breaking the line. The data is utterly blind to the human condition. And by democratizing these exact same advanced analytics to everyone, you create an inescapable arms race of optimization.
An arms race?
Yes, when everyone has access to the exact same data, everyone arrives at the exact same tactical conclusions. The tactical diversity of the game rapidly shrinks. The beautiful game becomes a solved mathematical equation.
But what you call a solved equation, I call a higher standard of play. The AI forces tactical evolution. It pushes coaches to find new solutions. And going back to the rules on the pitch, this exact same precision amplifies the game's strategic depth without killing the emotional highs.
See, I completely disagree there. Look at the officiating we talked about earlier. You have automated voices in referees' earpieces saying offside or onside and instant 3D animations. It completely kills the argument.
Wait, why is killing the argument a bad thing?
Because the ambiguity, the post-match debates in the pub, the visceral arguments, that is the culture of the sport. We bond over shared injustices just as much as shared triumphs. When you replace subjective human judgment with a cold, indisputable 3D rendering, you kill the debate. The human referee was a character in the narrative. Now they're just a fleshy conduit for the algorithm.
That is an incredible way to frame it. But honestly, it sounds like Stockholm Syndrome for bad officiating.
Stockholm Syndrome?
Yes, you've been subjected to so many terrible, game-ruining decisions over the years that you've convinced yourself you actually enjoy the pain of it. The drama of the sport should derive from the players. It should come from a perfectly executed through ball. We shouldn't rely on bureaucratic incompetence to feel something. And actually, the precision of AI enhances transparency and builds trust among the fans.
It elevates the intellectual level, sure, but it alienates the emotional core. We are taking a sport that is inherently chaotic, unpredictable, and raw. And we are smoothing out all the edges, tracking limbs, managing fatigue, predicting passes. It is perfectly efficient and entirely sterile.
Well, let's summarize where we stand, because I think the contrast in our perspectives is incredibly clear here. When I look at the integration of AI in the 2026 World Cup, I see a sport that has finally stripped away the noise. We have eliminated the blown calls, we've implemented biomechanical tracking that prevents catastrophic injuries, and crucially, we have shattered the financial monopolies of traditional scouting. By democratizing these analytics, a kid playing in a remote village now has the exact same mathematical chance of being discovered as a kid in a wealthy European academy. For me, AI leaves us with a purer, fairer platform where human athleticism and genuine equality of opportunity can finally shine.
And when I look at this exact same landscape, I see a cautionary tale. Yes, the technology makes the sport more efficient. Yes, it provides incredible tools for smaller clubs. But we have to be deeply wary of what we lose in the blind pursuit of optimization. We are taking a deeply emotional, intuitive, and beautifully flawed human pastime and turning it into a calculated mathematical output. We risk standardizing tactical styles, turning players into biomechanical data points, and silencing the glorious, chaotic arguments that have fueled football culture for over a century.
Well, despite our deep disagreements on the philosophical impact of all this, I think there is a clear point of convergence for us both. As we've seen throughout this World Cup, AI is no longer a distant experimental novelty. It is the foundational infrastructure of modern football.
Oh, undoubtedly. The revolution has already occurred. From generative AI answering tactical queries to 3D avatars tracking micro movements, this technology is permanently embedded in the sport. There's certainly much more to explore and how this will continue to evolve.
Which leaves all of you listening with a profound question to ponder. Have we sacrificed the raw, unpredictable human soul of football for the sake of technological perfection? Or has the beautiful game simply evolved to its highest possible form? Think back to that moment the ball hits the net. The next time you hold your breath waiting for the decision, ask yourself, are you cheering for the human or for the machine? We'll leave you to form your own conclusion.